Hi,
Hi
everyone.
there. Go
Welcome
ahead.
again to our weekly Facebook Live. What's new and coming up with lipedema? I'm Leslyn Keith, president of the board with the Lipedema Project. I'm here with my friend and colleague, Catherine Seo.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to be here. This is our Friday date with the lipedema community.
And I'm always so amazed how quickly Friday comes along because I guess because we're just doing so much fun stuff, it just seems like, wow, where did that week go? We're already here to Friday again, and we get to tell you what's happening and what we're doing, all the projects we're engaged in. And there's a lot of stuff going on. It's been very, very exciting.
So, we just launched our email, and you're going to be getting a bunch of emails. We have 10, count them 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, 10.
See how
10
hard we've been working? We can't even count our fingers.
10 webinars
Mhm.
coming up that we've been working on getting people to come and talk about different things. Lesson, let's go back and forth. Let's talk about some of the webinars we have coming up.
Yeah, and so the first one to launch Lipedema Awareness Month is going to be June 1st because that's June, the month of June is Lipedema Awareness Month. That is going to be our first one is going to be with Catherine and myself and Megan and Dr. Joanna Dudek, who has worked with us on a lot of projects. She's from Poland. And we're going to be talking about our holistic treatment model for lipedema, which I'm sure you've heard us talking about a lot, but we've learned a lot over the last couple of years, and we're finding out what is the best way to help women with lipedema. Catherine, give a little bit of a taste on what we've been doing the last couple of years with this model.
Oh my goodness. So there's always a story. I'm a storyteller at heart. But when I came back from Germany and I had the second liposuction, I was so sick. I mean, literally, I almost died. I came out of it, and what was clear to me is that there was no magic solution, there was no magic bullet, that there wasn't going to be something that was going to change it in the way that I needed for it to be changed. And I had to heal from the surgery. And then I had met Leslyn, and there was a team of us. And we really began. She mentioned Joanna Dudek, who I had spent time with in Europe. And we began to really look at what was really needed for healing at a profound level with a chronic disease that wasn't ever going to go away, at least not in my lifetime. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I know I'm in my early 70s that it's not going to. So I needed to find something. And thank God we began to find through Leslyn's research that ketogenic way of eating worked. It works. And it works for lipedema and lymphedema and lymphatic disorders. It works. And then we began to look at the physical aspects. Well, so many focus only on that, but there was mental and psychological. I was healing from a surgery that almost killed me.
Mhm.
So, I had some healing to do. I
Mhm.
really had healing to do. And then, of course, the emotional aspect, the spiritual aspect, and all of them were interconnected. And at one point, we had social. One of the pieces of work Joanna has done is around social connection. And we all know that. But what we've found as we've grown over the past number of years is that's at the heart. Community is at the heart and is the soul of what can help us to heal. And what's interesting about that is actually what the polyvagal theory talks to. The polyvagal theory. I'm doing my professor thing. This is way too much for a Facebook Live. Come to one of our webinars, you'll hear more about it.
Yes, just give them enough to make them want more, Catherine.
I'm laughing. I was like, ask me something and I go into every single detail. That's what I'm a professor. What do you want? So, Leslie, why don't you do a briefer version of some of what we're
Well,
doing?
and I just want to say that too, that with this webinar, our one that really sets off the whole month, when Dr. Joanna Dudak joins us, she's done a lot of research about the quality of life of women with lipedema. And so come and learn a lot about that and how what we're doing is hopefully improving your quality of life. So that is going to kick everything off. And then the following week, we're going to have on June 6th, our second webinar. I think that's a Sunday. And that one, Catherine is going to be sitting in with Dr. Matthew Carmody, who was her physician for years as they were together learning about lipedema and what best, how best to manage it. But there's even more about that relationship between Catherine and Dr. Carmody, who is now a good friend and on our team. That doctor relationship. And so, Catherine, when we talk about this one, again, you're trying to make it brief and hone in on what this one is about, but it really is about that relationship, isn't it?
So again, everything is a long story, but the short version of it is when I started to show up with unspecified swelling, basically I was having swelling that was significant and nobody could figure out what it was. Dr. Carmody got on board and he knew me enough. He knew what I did and how determined I was. And together we were able to come up with answers. So it was an amazing partnership. And that's what the webinar is going to talk about. How do you partner with your healthcare provider?
Yes, yes. And in some cases, how do you help bring them up to speed? How to educate them and stuff? Because at a lot of women with lipedema are actually going to know more about lipedema than their healthcare provider. So how do we help them along so they can help us? And then the next one later in that week on June 9th, we're going to have the title of this webinar is Conservative and Creative Therapy Modalities for the Treatment of Lipedema. And this one is going to be with Jean Coletti, who's a physical therapist who has her own practice in Asheville, North Carolina. And she uses a lot of what we call in the therapy world, physical agent modalities. These are modalities like, I don't even know if she uses ultrasound, but you think of those physical types of things that you sometimes do when you go into physical therapy office. So ultrasound and electrical stimulation, stuff like that. Well, she has some things that specifically seem to work really well with lipedema and also lymphedema and obesity. So she uses vibration and frankly, some modalities that I didn't know about until she started talking about it. And so she's going to talk about those modalities that she uses in her clinic and how she's creative with them. And when you learn about these modalities, then you can go to your own healthcare provider, your own therapist, and say, hey, can we get access to this modality? This might be useful for me. So I think that's going to be a really valuable workshop, as they all are, but a really good webinar for people to attend as well. So that one, Jean and I will be on together to talk to you about what's new and creative for doing therapy. So then,
I'm going to put the link. There should be a link above, but I'm going to put the link below where you can actually get a list of all of the webinars and register if you want. They're all free. So go ahead, Leslie. I just wanted to let people know I'm putting the link in the chat.
Yes. And when you register for the webinars, and you'll see when you follow that link, you can just pick and choose out of the 10 which ones you want. You can register for all of them. Just, as long as you register, you will have access to the recordings for the whole month of June, and I believe also most of July, because depending on where you are in the world, when it is on live, it may not be a really favorable time for you to be awake, but have no fear, you're not going to miss it. You will have access to that recording. And even if you do participate live, you may want to rewatch it. So you will have that access for quite some time afterwards. I'm going to just move along to the next webinar, which is on June 13th. And this one, Catherine is going to be there with her Zen teachers. And I always pronounce his name wrong. Go ahead and say that, Catherine.
Oh, Anjay Steck and
Anjay Steck. Yes.
Yep. And we're going to be talking about the Zen and the art of self-care. Because even though they're both of them are Zen teachers, they are very focused, which Zen is actually very focused on the physical and bringing the physical and spiritual together. So we'll be talking about that.
Body and mind. Yeah. Yeah. And so then on the 18th, I'm going to have my friend and colleague, Shush Kratzer, who has been teaching yoga for more than 35 years. But she and I became friends and colleagues probably at least 20 years ago. And I really got her into lymphedema and then just in fat disorders and lymphatic disorders in general. And she has developed her own yoga practice that really helps stimulate the lymphatics. So she calls it her lymphatic flow yoga. And so she's going to be doing that with us. First, some information about it and teaching you some stuff. And then we're going to actually be sitting in chairs. You'll be sitting in your chair at home and you'll actually get to do some of this yoga with Shush. That's going to be a fun webinar as well. And then on the 21st, this one is, I'm really looking forward to this one because on the 21st, we have Siobhan Huggins, who is well known in the low carb community. She's a young woman, 25 years old, recently found out that she has lipedema, but she is a researcher. She is a nerd. She knows how to investigate and learn things, and she's a thinker. She knows how to coalesce and bring things together. And so from a couple different perspectives, this is going to be a very interesting webinar because we don't often get the perspective of a young woman with lipedema and what it was like for her to find out about her diagnosis and try to figure out how to manage it. And she is, because of her researcher's mind, she's going to be bringing together a lot of information and giving her own spin on it. So if you want to look at lipedema in a new way, then join us for that webinar with Siobhan Huggins. I'm really looking forward to that. And on the 24th, I believe this is also a Thursday, we're going to have my friend and colleague, Karen Ashforth, who has been treating lymphatic and fat disorders for over 20 years. And she has some excellent knowledge about fibrosis. And this is what our community has been asking for a long time. Okay, I have some fibrosis, some scar tissue, some firmness in my areas of lipedema. What can I do myself? So she will be talking about what can be done in a therapy clinic, but also what can you do at home to help manage your fibrosis. Going to be fantastic. And then on the 27th, this is Catherine is going to be joined by our community managers, Kathy Dwellett and Gail Straker, talking about community. Catherine, give a little synopsis of what you guys are going to be talking about in that webinar.
I mentioned that our holistic model is really based as it's evolved in the power of community. And one of the things for those of us with lipedema and lymphedema is that it can be a very isolating disease for many and various reasons. I don't have to go into it. And so community and the power of community, the power of connection is what's at the core of everything we do. So we're going to be talking about some of what we offer and how you might want to increase your own commitment to yourself through community. So we'll be talking a bit about our tribe, our membership group. And if you're not already in it, we're going to be inviting you to join us. and like that.
Excellent. And then on the 30th, so right at the end of Lipedema Awareness Month, we couldn't go the whole week without talking about keto, because we really like to talk about the magic of keto. But this is going to be a little bit different. Catherine and I are going to be joined by Megan Pfeffer, who is our nutritionist from Australia and a member of the leadership team of Lipedema Simplified. And we're going to be talking about mindset. And this is one thing that, well, one of many things that Megan excels at. And she is one reason why she is so good about coaching women to help them adopt and change their eating habits is because she helps them with their mindset. So I'm really looking forward to this one, talking about how we change, how we're able to adapt our eating style because we are able to bring a new way of thinking about healthy lifestyle change. So that's going to be really good. And then
yes.
We
have the town hall.
Yes.
So once a year we have a town hall session, which is at the end of all of our webinars. We open to Q&A, and never are we able to get to all the questions. There's always way more questions than we can possibly get to. So the town hall is exactly what that says. Bring your questions that aren't answered, bring your concerns, bring anything you want to talk about, and we have an open discussion. And our staff, my cat's climbing on my computer. Everybody, this is Bella. So we have, let's see, Megan and Leslin and me, Dr. Carmody. We have Kathy.
We're going to be joined by Kathy Dwollet, Gail Straker, Brenda Gold, Buchle Williams.
And that's it.
Yes, I think that's going to be it's going to be a crowd. But
yeah, we're going to have a crowd.
Each of us has our own expertise, and I love having plenty of people there to answer a question because I may not know it, but someone else on our team may have a better understanding of your question, or there may be several of us that have differing views of that same question. So I think we can better address whatever you come up with when we have a large team there.
And I just want to say, if you're listening to this, please make sure you register. We just launched about less than 2 hours ago, and we already have 111 people registered. I just went to check. It's like it's quite remarkable. I love that people are coming and all of this is working. So
yes,
we are thrilled.
Yep. And I don't know if we have a cap on how many people that we could serve, but make sure you register early just to make sure, because we may, with various restrictions, sometimes we can't accommodate all the people who want to join a webinar. So make sure you get there registered, especially if you want to be there live, to be able to participate and ask your questions. You'll be you'll able to write things in the chat or in the Q&A. Each of the webinars, we're making sure that there is time for answering questions. Again, anything that's left over, that's going to go to the town hall so that we make sure that we, get those questions answered for you. And every time we do one of these webinars, the people that attend are so smart. I mean, they really ask excellent questions. And sometimes you may even feel like, this is stupid. I should know this. Well, you're not necessarily should know that. It's something that, there is so much about lipedema that is unknown. And it's just, we're having to speculate on. But when you bring up a question, it gives us an opportunity to discuss it. And someone else, is going to be able to chime in and add to that discussion. So there is no stupid questions. We enjoy the stimulation of our thinking and in our discussion. I think it all helps. And if you're thinking that question, there's 20 other people that are thinking it too. So please join us, please register, and please participate. Make your comments and your statements and ask questions. We love it. Oh, I can't believe we've already been talking 20 minutes. Catherine, we get so excited about everything we're doing. The time flies.
So thanks for stopping by. This is our usual Friday date. Some version of us will be here every Friday at 4:30, and have a wonderful weekend. Or
Yes.
as my friend Anjay says, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.